All right, Miles, let's talk about the Las Vegas Raiders here for a little bit. Look, now that we're through mini camps and OTAs, we're starting to see how teams are going to shake out. We can see the personnel on the field together, young guys and vets. And there's one new addition to the Las Vegas Raiders that kind of highlights a sneaky good move the Raiders pulled off this offseason. Those are the kind of moves we like to talk about on this channel, kind of under the radar moves that kind of have a big impact for the team going forward. And this is one that I think Raiders fans should be really excited for.
Yeah, Nick, I think the Raiders fans are going to love this move. I think it's one of the biggest moves they made this offseason, even though they picked up a new quarterback. I think it would be huge for this team. But, Nick, there's a lot of great moves, as we alluded to. There's a lot of great rookies. There's a lot of guys from last year that maybe didn't quite hit where they needed to be, but this could be their year. And that's why I want to ask the Raiders fans in the comments below. Listen, there's a lot of great players on this team, but I think some of them, this could be their biggest year yet. That's why I want to know in the comments below. Who is your Raiders breakout player this season? Could be a rookie, could be a second-year guy, could be a new guy on this team, new face, new territory. Let us know who's your breakout Raider for this season. But, Nick, let's get on to it. What is the big news for the Las Vegas Raiders?
Yeah, Miles, it's a great teaser there talking about breakout players. I think the Raiders have one, a new addition. If you want to go and throw out the report from Fan Nation, I will read from it. All right, the Las Vegas Raiders made noticeable efforts to improve their secondary by adding several defensive backs in free agency and the 2023 NFL Draft. One of the players they signed in March was cornerback Duke Shelley, who joined the Raiders after spending time with the Chicago Bears and the Minnesota Vikings. Last season, Shelley posted 31 tackles, 8 passes defended, and an interception in 11 games. He made his impact felt as a rotational defensive back on a playoff team. Now Shelley will look to bring that impact to the Raiders where he earns a starting role or continues to be an important depth piece in a secondary that needs help. Shelley played on the outside at quarterback for the Vikings last season and flew well under the radar as a defender. He now joins the Raiders with a chance to build on that play and potentially become an important player on defense. The Raiders were looking for help in the secondary, and they may have signed the most underrated free agent to help them do just that. All right, Miles, I'm going to admit I missed the signing when it happened. Obviously Duke Shelley goes from the Vikings to the Raiders. You're like, okay, not really a guy, rotational piece. How big of an impact was he? I mean, if you look at his grades and just look at his performance, this dude is potentially scary good, Miles. According to Pro Football Focus, of course, for those of you who aren't familiar, Pro Football Focus or PFF, they watch all the film, they grade each individual player at their position, and they give it a rating, right? Like you're on a 0 to 100 scale. We talk about it all the time. Anything in the 70s is a good, solid player, is a quality starter. Anything in the early, low 80s to mid 80s is like a Pro Bowl caliber kind of guy. And the high 80s, 90s, that's like all pro Hall of Fame type stuff. So like Aaron Donald is in the 90s, but mid 80s, around early 80s, that's like a Pro Bowl player. That's a star player. Well, this is a guy last year that graded out in coverage 84.5 last season with the Minnesota Vikings. That's Pro Bowl caliber stuff. That's really darn good. And to give you some context there, Mize, there are 5 players that ranked in the top 5 of coverage last season according to PFF. Here are their names: Marlon Humphrey, Sauce Gardner, of course, the rookie New York Jets, very good. Marcus Jones for the Patriots. Patrick Surtain, the second, one of the better defenders in all the NFL with the Denver Broncos. And they're right in the middle of those guys was Duke Shelley. That's a great list to be a part of. I mean, he's right in the middle of those. He actually graded higher than Surtain. That speaks to how good he was last year. It was actually kind of a low-key breakout year for Shelley, and it looks like he has a potential to build off of that. And one other point I want to bring up, Miles, I think this is the kicker. His cap hit for the Raiders this season is $1.282 million. Miles, for $1.3 million, we'll call it roughly, that's a guy that's like your number 5 corner that you hope can be a good special teams player. If Shelley can be anywhere remotely close to as good as he was for the Minnesota Vikings for the price of $1.3 million, that will be that will be the steal of the offseason, especially at a critical position of need, cornerback for the Las Vegas Raiders. I love this move by the Raiders. I should have talked about it more at the time, but we'll talk about it now. I'm curious what your thoughts are on it, Miles. But before I throw it to you, I want to remind everyone to stay tuned to the end of the video to learn more about our partner of today's video, and that, of course, is Neuro. Neuro's got a lot of great products to give you a fast and easy boost of energy. We love to take their mints or their gums right before the show. So make sure you stay tuned to the end of the video to learn more about Neuro and, most importantly, to get access to our special discount code. Brian, Miles, I'll throw it over to you now. What are your thoughts on Shelley and just everything with the Raiders right now?
Yeah, Nick, I think this is, like you said, could be the biggest move of the offseason for the Raiders. I think this is huge going forward for them because this is a defense that really kind of needed a lot of help, especially in the secondary. You look at them, they rated 24th per PFF defense overall last year. Not great. I'm going to be honest with you, not great. That's not what you want to see. But adding key guys like this to help out studs like Max Crosby and even a really solid player in Chandler Jones on the edge, I think this is going to help a lot for the Raiders because we know having really good lockdown corners is the key to playing good defense in today's NFL. You got to have pass rushers, which the Raiders have. You got to have lockdown corners, which it looks like the Raiders have now picked up. I think this is a huge move for the Raiders going forward, and I think this could help them turn this team around. This is a team that has had tons of potential, especially on the offensive side of the ball. You look at all that talent, and you wonder, why haven't they gone further? It's because they've been underperforming on the defensive side of the ball. And I think this is a move to really help bolster that defense, and under the radar move, Nick, for a heck of a deal. This is a steal of a deal, as you allude to, the biggest steal of the offseason, if it even comes remotely close to how it's looking like it will. I think this could be huge for the Raiders going forward, and I think this could help push them over the edge and make them serious playoff contenders come this season.
All right, Miles, we would like to give a special thanks to our partner in today's video, Neuro.
That's right, Nick. And I want you to go with me on a journey really fast. I want you to imagine this. It's 4th and goal in the big game, Nick. Your team is relying on you to make the big-time game-winning play. I know you've been in this situation before, Nick. The stadium is roaring. The clock is ticking. The game is on the line. But if only in that moment you were able to have some Neuro Gum. Neuro Gum will help you stay concentrated, and it gives you a burst of energy without a nasty crash.
That's right, Miles. Neuro has thoughtfully curated ingredients and does endless lab testing, which means that you can reach the right state of mind safely and consistently. That's the most important part. It gives you a clean burst of energy and focus without the jitters of coffee or any of those other energy drinks.
That's right, Nick. And if you click our sponsor link in the description below, you can enjoy energy, calm, and focus whenever you need it.